stars Nina Geary and is directed by Ian Towson. And it tells the tale of the host of a popular paranormal podcast that becomes haunted by terrifying recordings mysteriously sent her way. This is a slow burn, really slow burn movie that the critics like because it's 77% on the tomato meter, 53 by the audience. What can you tell from that? That critics seem to like the artistry of this movie, where my observation is that this is not going to resonate with the fans because it's just really slow. It's kind of a warfest. I mean, look at this shot. This is what you're going to get in this movie. Is there something behind me? We're going to slowly pan over here and nothing. And this happens quite a bit in the film. There's nothing over there. They try to create that sense of mood where it's like, okay, I see what you're trying to do. It was kind of eerie the first time, but I'm a horror fan. And I am familiar with these kinds of tropes, and I feel like maybe that's what the critics are going to be so lenient on this movie for. It's a lower budget film by far. You can tell that it's only got a few cast members in it. You don't even get to see one of the main characters in it. You just hear the voice, and it's like, well, that's such artistry and such imagination, James. Can't you just see this being put out on the screen? And while granted, it's well shot, and it's well acted by Nina Geary, our main actress here. She has to carry this film. I grant all that. But by the end of this movie, I'm just like, for God's sake, something's got to happen, please. We've been sitting here for an hour and 40 minutes, and I need something a little more substantive than just panning down the hallway and having nothing happen. Like, I mean, the idea of having demonic voices being heard through nursery rhymes is a cool idea, and here having them possibly being heard in the podcast is an interesting idea. I don't think it was an idea that could have served an hour and 33 minutes, because it felt like it was stretched out to be like an hour and 50 minutes, for God's sakes. A little underwhelming on my side. I told you what I liked. I liked her in this, the main character, Nina Geary. She was really good. I liked the premise for this. It's just, it's not like Paranormal Activity, where it's like by the end you got to check that out because of that ending. No. This is just kind of like, really? Did you earn that? Did you earn that? It feels like it all of a sudden got too hokey because you didn't earn that, right? Granted, there was some creepy stuff that happened with mirrors, reflections, and stuff like that. It became nonsensical. Wait a minute, there's a weird light that just turned on in the closet. Whatever, I'm not going to check it out. I'm just going to close the door and that's it. And that's the kind of stuff that happens in this movie. Why? I don't know what the critics are smoking when they came up with this score, because 77% is just way too high. I can't fathom a good reason as to why this is. 53% by the critics seems a little bit more in line with what I'm going to be, but I'm going to be very generous to this movie, Undertone, because of the artistry that was attempting to being pulled off here. It just didn't land for me. It didn't land. And that's what I think a lot of people are going to be like when they come out of the theater, be like, well, I thought this was it had some really good ideas, but it was just boring. Let's go to my score sheet and start filling in the numbers here for Undertone. Acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points. Cinematography and score are out of 1 point. So acting, is there anything Oscar worthy in here? No. Nina Geary's awesome. So there you go. She carries it. She's good. Directing, the execution of the technical aspects, it's competently done in that aspect. Everything's well framed. Everything's well shot. The color palette is all good that it draws you into the mood and atmosphere of it. It just fails to land the punches and um, that ending. And the story, very interesting story, very interesting premise. You were just like wanting something to happen and nothing happens. And as I said, the first time that it happens, it's okay. Um, Wait a minute, we're just starting the podcast. You want to cut after 5 minutes? Yeah, that kind of thing, right? It's just like, yeah. The strongest part, I think, of this film, apart from Nina there, the main character, is probably the cinematography, because it's well executed enough to draw you in for some of the scenes where it's just like, yeah, we're staring down a hallway. It's creepily shot. I'm looking at all the different parts of the frame. So I grant that. The score, okay, there's a big difference between the score and like the actual sound mix of like people talking and the reverse sounds that you may hear at different points in the theater. Is this something that you need to see in the theater? I would say no. Watch it at home with a headset on. That way, when they do try to play those noises where it's like, oh, did that come from behind me? Like they try to play into that, right? We've all been here where we've been listening to our headset and it's kind of like, wait a minute, was that on my headset or did I hear that out there? And they play into that, and that stuff kind of worked, but it didn't scare me, and I'm a little bummed out, So, with that being said, what was that we were sitting at? A 4.5 right now. Before we finish that up with the watchability factor, let's go back to what the tomato meter was saying here and try to get some understanding from the critics and the audience of Undertone. Movie Freak, didn't like it. I will see films in 2025 that I will dislike far more than I do writer-director Ian Twasson's Undertone. I doubt I will see many that I will find nearly as disappointing. Yeah, now this movie uh, was slated to come out in 2025. I don't know. When you guys search this on the IMDb, it'll actually say The Undertone. Yeah, so you see it says it right there, and it says 2025 right there, right? So it's just getting its release date now. What does that tell you about it? And I'm guessing the critics are all going to like this because it's a fellow filmmaker that has got this small little project and it's trying to get off the ground. So I'm going to support it regardless of how I feel about it. Crooked Marquee. In the grand tradition of indies like the Blair Witch Project and the Paranormal Activity, writer-director Ian Twasson, the feature debut accomplishes ample scares with very little budget. Undertone could almost be effective scream generator as an audio presentation. Then you wouldn't get Twasson's strong visuals or chance to watch Kiri, who's a dynamic young actor. Yes, she is. The final sound of the movie creates is a disappointed groan from the audience. Yeah, by the end of it, it's like when they show you the big payoffs, it's like, ugh, ugh. Really? Okay, let's go home. Should Twasson get some writing help? Yeah, he might become a formidable. Well, that's very generous of you, Wall Street Journal. Let's go to what the audience is saying here. Terrible waste of time without any plot or payoff. It's not even qualified to be a slow burn because when the script is thin, yeah, guys, I can't echo enough that this movie tries to drag out everything. Absolutely everything. I'm going to sit there and stare at my mother who's in a coma for like 2 minutes, and that's what we're doing. That's what you're going to get in this film. John KM felt like this was a slow burn, which always goes one way or the other. Scariest movie I've seen in a long time, and I watch scary movies all the time, says Elizabeth. Well, um, do you really watch scary movies all the time? Because I would challenge you with, have you seen Bone Temple? Which is not really scary, I guess, but it's horrific, very gruesome. Weapons, I mean, come on. Come on. But let's go back to some other notable critics that I respect. Jeremy John says, undeniably, it's a new experience, a new angle that breathes new life into it. Very insightful. Actually, I don't know what the heck you're talking about, dude. Perry Nemiroff, also a horror fan, says remarkably unsettling. The first movie to keep me up at night since Paranormal Activity. Again, they're referring this back to other indie films, and I think the nostalgia of that is bleeding through to the critics, and I think that is why the critics are rating it so high, because they're saying, "Oh, this reminded me of that. This feels like that." But when you actually sit back and you try to articulate and absorb what the substance of this movie is saying at the end of it, just show us a monster then, for God's sakes. That's what you need to do. Like, at least Paranormal Activity did that. Uh, and it's like, well, no, you're supposed to have it all up here. It's scarier in your head than what you're going to see on the actual screen. And it's like, but you're already showing us some stuff that's kind of creepy. Like, you can see here that there's obviously some kind of a ghost or something standing there, but then it turns out to be nothing. Like, it's just a little numbing by the end of it. So you get the idea here. You get where I'm going with this. So let's go back to the watchability factor and wrap this up and get us out of here. Watchability is out of a possible 2 points. And if you saw the trailers for this, you saw the short version of this, there's like a short movie of this or something like that, and you were intrigued, 5.5. Wow, that puts me right in line with the audience score. Now, can I possibly give it any more? I could maybe give it for the acting, except, like, I think at the end of the day, this movie's not even about the nursery rhymes and the demonic voices and stuff. It's really an allegory about the trepidations of becoming a new mother. That's what you're going to get out of this. That's what I feel like it's trying to say at the end of the day. And is it effective in doing that? I think maybe because of Nina Carey's performance, and that's the most you're going to get out of me for this. 6 out of 10. But you're not going to get a scene in here where she'll be like, I don't know if I should be a mother or not. It's just those ideas are laid out there, but they're never really that explored. And for that, I got to say 6 out of 10 for Undertone. A very generous 6 out of 10. So what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below and we will talk about it. If you like this kind of thing, join us for our review of Reminders of Him, a romance with some serious family drama going on in the background, right here on Mirror Domains.